Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Podcast, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some of the stocks on the move today here in Europe. I'm Caroline Hepker with Lizzie Burden, and we're joined by Bloomberg's equities reporter Joe Easton. Good morning. Sanofi trials are not the sort of breath of fresh air that markets were really hoping for. Talking about drug trials today.
Yes, so this is actually the big shock of the morning in terms of the market moves. So we're seeing Sanofi shares down currently around 7% now. That is a pretty big move for that stock. It is continuing to decline as I speak. Now, this is all on a drug trial. Data, I'm just bringing up, that's the biggest move in around 18 months for that stock currently. So Sanofi announcing some trial data for a drug that is treating former smokers that had a lung condition. Now, it's not been as successful as they had hoped, unfortunately, and therefore the market is kind of writing down the value of this drug. It was said to be worth around $5 billion in terms of peak sales if they can get it approved, but at the moment there were two elements to the trial, and one of them has clearly disappointed investors. Analysts telling me today that it was not the home run that they expected it to be, so that is the reason for Sanofi down today. Okay. It's SAN for the ticker there on that one.
That's a shame. But we are looking at M&G shares up quite a fair bit, up 6.4%. M&G looking at some M&A.
Yes, M&G, the ticker being MNG on that one, so that's an easy one to remember. That one is up around 9% today. Dai-ichi Life over in Japan buying a 15% stake in the UK life insurer. Now, this will do two things. Firstly, it will improve their cooperation together in terms of the life insurance market cooperation, and also on the more asset management side, it will provide at least $6 billion in new flows for M&G. M&G being one of the UK's biggest asset managers and life insurance companies. It did reduce some of their asset management business previously, but still have a decent stake there. So that one, the best performer in the UK, up 6% currently.
Okay, M&G. What about Gap? Looking at a hole in their Asia sales.
So Gap.
I know. We like the puns. We try to keep it a bit lighter in this segment.
Got a hole in there. Yeah, gap in there. Yeah. So Gap, with a gap in their sales, missing expectations. So they were predicting growth of around 2% in terms of sales growth. That was below some of the analysts' expectations. That came after the market yesterday. Gap shares absolutely tanked. They were down 15% in the post-market. We saw some weakness coming through into Zara. Well, the owner of Zara, Inditex, ITX, that one was down around 1% at the open. HMB, H&M, that was also down. They have actually recovered recently. Some analysts saying that it is specifically weakness over in Gap's Banana Republic brand, which I don't think we really have much of here. I don't think I've got any of that myself. I did used to love Gap when we had the stores, but they closed all the Gap stores in the UK.
It's all online.
Yeah, it's all online now. Yeah, I used to pop in there on my lunch break actually, but now it's they don't seem to be around anymore, sadly. But Gap feeding through a bit of weakness, and the UK clothing retail stocks down again today.
The Stock Movers Podcast from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.